Hello students. So let us continue with the back exercise of chapter 10 gravitation. So now we are going to see the 10th question. I'll read it. Amit buys few grams of gold at the poles as per the instruction of one of his friends. He hands over the same when he meets him at the equator. Will the friend agree with the weight of gold bought? If not, why? Hint is given in the brackets. The value of G is greater at the poles than at the equator. I'll read it once again, so pay attention. Amit buys few grams of gold at the poles as per the instruction of one of his friends. He hands over the same when he meets him at the equator. Will the friend agree with the weight of gold bought? If not, why? And in the bracket it is given hint, the value of G is greater at the poles than at the equator. Okay, so Amit is now near the poles and he is asked by his friend to buy few grams of gold which he has bought at the poles. And he reaches afterwards at the equator where he meets his friend and hands over the same weight of gold to the friend. Friend will agree or not? We know that the friend will not agree. So no, the friend will not agree. But you have to explain why he will not agree. Now let us consider weight of gold at poles. WP, if we represent it by WP, is equal to M into GP, because weight is nothing but force of gravity acting on the body. And force of gravity is given by mg. Since this is weight is at poles, measured at poles, so GP, acceleration due to gravity at poles we are taking. Similarly, weight of gold, same gold, at equator, WE will be mge. Mass remains constant at poles, at equator, everywhere you go mass will remain constant, but G value varies. So we have represented acceleration due to gravity at equator by GE. Okay. Now, it is given in the hint also, but otherwise also, even if it is not given, we know that GP is greater than GE. We have done this variation in the theory part, that acceleration due to gravity is maximum at poles on the surface of Earth. So, since GP is greater than GE, we can easily see that WP will be greater than WE, or WE will be less than WP. It means weight of the gold which is bought at poles, and when it is again measured at equator, it will be less than the weight when it was bought at poles. So thus the friend will not agree with the weight of gold bought at poles. So the reason basically here lies here, that acceleration due to gravity at equator is less than acceleration due to gravity at poles. Hope this is clear. 11th question. Why does a sheet of paper fall slower than one that is crumpled into a ball? You must have experienced this, that if you throw a paper from some height or from first floor of your building, then it falls slower than if you crumple the same sheet of paper into a ball. But we have seen in this chapter that acceleration due to gravity on all the bodies, irrespective of their mass, is same. It means even if their masses are different, they should cover the same distance in same time if they are freely falling, irrespective of their mass. But in this case, the paper itself is same. It means mass of the paper, sheet of paper and crumpled paper is same. But then why sheet of paper falls lower than one that is crumpled into a ball? Now, I'll give you the explanation in simple words, although actually you will understand it better when you do the buoyancy part of this gravitation chapter. Okay, when you do thrust and pressure or pressure exerted by fluids, then you will understand it better. But let us see in simple words what we can write. Now we know that when any body moves on the surface, like ball rolling on the ground or box sliding on the ground, whenever there is motion between any two surfaces, there exists hidden force called as frictional force or friction, which opposes the motion of the relative motion between the two objects, between the two surfaces. Similarly, when any body is freely falling or falling towards earth in the presence of air, then air also resists the motion of freely falling bodies. Resist means it offers resistance or it opposes the motion of freely falling bodies. And you should know that this resistance, this opposing force which is offered by air to the freely falling bodies is directly proportional to their surface area. We will not see the detailed explanation here. We can just mention that this resistance is directly proportional to surface area of the freely falling bodies. As when we crumple the sheet of paper into a ball, so we can say the crumpled paper or the paper ball has smaller surface area than the sheet of paper. So, smaller surface area means it will experience smaller or less resistance. So, the crumpled paper ball will experience less resistance than a sheet of paper. So, if it experiences less resistance means less opposing force. So, the crumpled paper fall faster than the sheet of paper, or we can write the sheet of paper fall slower than the crumpled paper ball. 12th question. Gravitational force on the surface of the moon is only 1/6 as strong as gravitational force on the earth. What is the weight in newtons of a 10 kg object on the moon and on the earth? So it is given gravitational force on the surface of the moon is only 1/6 as strong as gravitational force on the earth. We know that from this sentence, we already know that acceleration due to gravity on moon is 1/6 times acceleration due to gravity on earth. What is the weight in newtons of a 10 kg object on the moon and on the earth? See, when we on earth, we talk about earth's gravity. When we are on moon or closer to moon, we talk about moon's gravity. So, given mass of the body is 10 kg, we know it remains same at all the places in the universe. It is a constant. So, weight of a body on moon we have to find out. Weight of a body on earth we have to find out. Okay. And small gm, that is acceleration due to gravity on moon, is 1/6 times acceleration due to gravity on earth. And we know that ge, acceleration due to gravity on earth, we assume it to be 9.8 meter per second square. We assume it to be constant on the surface of earth. So just by putting the values of 10 and this m and ge, we can get the answers for this. Weight of a body on moon is m into gm, where we can write gm is 1/6 times ge. Now put the value of mass as 10 kg, ge as 9.8 meter per second square, and we get the answer 16.333 newtons. Okay, and we can round it off to 2 decimal places, 16.33 newtons. Similarly, weight of a body on earth is m into ge. Put the values of m and ge, we get the answer to be 98 newton. See the difference? So weight of a body on moon, it is much smaller than weight of a body on earth. It is actually 1/6 times its weight on earth. 13th question. A ball is thrown vertically upwards with a velocity of 49 meters per second. Calculate 1. The maximum height to which it rises. 2. The total time it takes to return to the surface of the earth. I'll read it again. A ball is thrown vertically upwards with a velocity of 49 meters per second. Calculate, you have to calculate two things. 1, the maximum height to which it rises, and 2nd, the total time it takes to return to the surface of the earth. So be careful, here it is not the time to reach to the maximum height. It is the time that it takes to return to the surface of the earth. So we can write, given is, first of all, have a look at the diagram. Consider that O is a point on this earth from where the ball is thrown in the vertically upward direction. So U, it is given that initial velocity with which the ball was thrown in the upward direction is U is 49 meters per second. We know that the ball will cover some height and stop for a moment. It will, when it reaches a maximum height, it stops for a while and then returns to the ground. So if A is the peak position attained by the ball or body, here we can write at A, V is equal to 0 meter per second. Okay, so we can draw this diagram, and there is no need to mention, it is clearly understood from the diagram that O is a point on the earth. O is the initial point. So we can write here, consider the motion from O to A. At A, V is 0 meter per second. We know that U is 49 meter per second, and it is a case of uniformly accelerated motion but with negative acceleration. You know that the velocity decreases, so it is a uniform retardation case. Small g, we should take it as minus 9.8 meter per second square. If you don't put the minus sign, entire thing will go wrong. Now time is not given here. We have to find the height attained by the maximum height attained by the ball. So we can use the third equation of motion. V square is U square plus 2gh. Put the value of V as 0. Square now. U square is 49 square plus 2. G is minus 9.8 into h. Now when you simplify this, you get h is equal to 122.5 meters. Now when I was doing the simplification, I have not multiplied 2 by 9.8. Why? Because I know that 9.8 is 4.9 into 2. So by just taking, if I remove the point, I can multiply the numerator by 10. And this 98 then, which can be written as 49 into 2, 49 will get cancelled and your calculation will become simpler. So height we have got 122.5 meters. Now let us do the second part. That is, we have to find the total time taken to return to the surface of earth. It means we have to find the time taken by the ball to reach from O to A, and then plus time taken by it to reach from A to O. We have to add the two times and then we will get the time taken to return to the surface of earth. So in this case, let T dash be the time taken by it to reach from O to A. And we will remember this, always when the bodies are in this kind of motion, time taken by it to reach from O to A will be equal to time taken by it to reach from A to O. And in higher classes you will see that time taken by the bodies to reach from O to A to reach the maximum height is called as time of ascent, and time taken by it to reach from the highest point to the ground is called as time of descent. And always time of ascent and time of descent are same if the body is thrown from the surface of earth. It means to reach the same distance, to reach the same position, that those two times are equal. So in this case, time of ascent and time of descent will be equal, as we are considering initial and final positions are same on the surface of earth. So if I take T dash as time taken to reach from O to A, then T dash will be the time taken by it to reach from A to O. And in this case, total time, if we represent it by small t, then this will be double of this time, 2T dash. So let us find T dash first, then we can multiply it by 2 to get the total time. So for that, consider the motion of the ball again from O to A. We know that U is this, V is this, and now, so we can use the first equation of motion to find the time. V is U plus G. T dash I can write because I have represented the time by T dash. So putting the values, V is 0, U is 49, G is, remember, minus 9.8 into T dash. And when you simplify this, just do that, removing the point from the denominator, you can multiply the numerator by 10, and 98 can be written as 49 into 2. This will make your calculations easier, simpler, as 49 will get cancelled and you will be left with 10 by 2, that is 5 seconds. So time taken to reach from O to A is 5 seconds. So total time taken by the ball to return to the surface of earth will be double of this time. So T will be 2T dash, it is 2 into 5, 10 seconds. I hope the questions, the solutions that we have discussed today of the back exercise are clear to you. So we'll continue with the back exercise in the next video. Thank you, students.